Hi, welcome to Digital Dialogs, your compact conversations on the future of technology. My name is Rene from Reply, and today we're going to talk about pioneering service robotics with real-world applications from research to retail. So that's quite a lot of stuff we're going to have to cover. And for this, I'm very honored to have a special expert guest, Mr. Francesco Ferro, the CEO of PAL Robotics. Ciao Francesco, come stai?
Ciao René, tutto bene? Un saluto da Barcellona.
Awesome. Well, before we talk a little bit further about the specific topics, please introduce yourself to our audience and tell us a little bit about yourself, also about PAL Robotics and your journey with service robotics and so on.
Okay, thank you René for the introduction. So I'm Francesco Ferro, I'm Italian. I made the Polytechnic of Torino in Italy, and I'm the co-founder of PAL Robotics. That is one of the most European important service robotics company. And we are doing from humanoids, biped robots, to mobile manipulators for retail, for healthcare, for manufacturing, to mobile bases and social robots. So these are more or less the three important business that we have. And we are working in this field since 2024, so are more than 20 years now. And we are here in order to more or less help your public in order to understand a little bit this world.
Wow. So since you said since 2004, so 21 years now.
Correct.
Wow, that's a long time. And it's also exciting, like you're saying, I like how you emphasize the European aspect of it, right? Because a lot of robotics companies we see out there are obviously from the US or Asia, but it's great that we have some strong European players here. And for sure, we also have been using PAL Robotics for some challenges, like the team took part in some robotics challenges where the main robot that had to be used was a PAL Robotics robot, which is awesome, right? So that's definitely great, and I love that aspect for sure. But that's furthermore, right? It's not just about your location and being in Europe, but also you actually provide very good innovation. You provide very good devices and with lots of features, and that's why you stand out as well, right? But
Yes.
so let's talk a bit about you have very extensive experience, like you said, like 21 years with service robotics. And so could you share a little bit about what at PAL Robotics, what are the latest innovations you're working on? I saw you're working also on a humanoid robot now called TALOS or something, and then also
Yes.
you have a mobile manipulator TIAGo Pro, which is
Yes.
also making some strong impact across different sectors. So maybe you can break this up a little bit for us.
In order to explain a little bit more about humanoid robots, I have to say that we started in 2004 with a humanoid robot biped project. So we did a chess player. So humanoid biped robots that was able to walk and play chess. So we did this project for engineers in 1 year in 2004. So at that time, humanoid robots were not like now. Okay. And so we never stopped to develop humanoid robots. So we did from the first prototype that was called RIM A, then RIM B. We did the first commercial product that is called RIM C, is still on our portfolio. And from that time, that it was 2012 more or less, that we did the RIM C, we start working on a new technology that is torque control. So robots that are able to feel forces. So
Wow.
this is, in our opinion, the next stage of this kind of technology. And the feeling forces is with sensors, so with torque sensors in each joint that make more difficult the control side. And from the other side, also trying to have the feeling, so the tactile stuff. So this is another important thing. But we are still working on it. And from that time, we start working on TALOS, that is a robot that we co-develop with one big university that is LAS in Toulouse, where, LAS is in Toulouse, where there are Airbus stuff. And so we start working some project with Airbus in order to have this kind of robot in the manufacturing plant in order to make these kind of things. So it's a strong robot. It can able to carry with arms stretched up to 6 kilograms from four hands. And this robot is still working on dynamic walking in order to make this robot stuff better and better. And from this prototype, we just selling different robots that are in different global universities. So we have one in Canada, but most are in Europe,
Yeah.
and we worked on kangaroo robots. So with a similar
Huh?
technology, we are working in a smaller robots that is more agile, and this is, in our opinion, something that could help a lot in order to make high performance in not only manufacturing but also in healthcare. That is something important, and why not also in the future in agriculture, so in what is called agri-food. And so these development of humanoid robots are very important because we think that in the future we will have this kind of robots. Now, probably there's some hype on the humanoids, but let's see if we will be able to just fulfill the real requirement and the needs that have the different industry. And but one of the most important robot and most of the robots from us is the TIAGo and the TIAGo
Yep.
Pro.
Yep.
That is, instead of using legs, we are having similar platform, but using wheels. So on mobile platform. Okay. So the idea is to have the robots that is completely configurable. So we could have with one arm, two arm. Now we did even a project for France with the three arms in order to have, instead of the head, the third arm that
Yeah.
would just try to solve the problem of perception. Because most of the time, the manipulation problem that is still something that we have to work on is just forced with the sensor that you have in the robots. And most of the time, even for humans, we have most of our sensor in the heads, so the eyes especially. And the robot is the same. But why we can't use different things with robots? So we don't have to manically so follow the human form. So having a third arm in the head, it can help in order to make a better manipulation, a better grasping, and probably solve the needs in a better way. So these are more or less the things that we are working. Then in more industry side, in PAL Robotics, we are working in a very cool robot that is called Stockbot.
Hmm.
That is a robot that is based on RFID. So imagine a mobile basis with
Yeah.
RFID antenna that is just going inside the shop with people. So in a crowded environment, in a, it's called like this, no? And make autonomous navigation. So the idea of this robot is just going through the shelves and just take the accountability of your items in the shops on real time. So the idea is to having always monitoring in your shop where you have the items. And so the biggest deployment that we did all around the world, we are now in 14 countries, is with Decathlon, that is the biggest
Yeah.
sport retailer. And we have more than 200 robots all around the world that are doing inventory autonomously every day. So
Wow.
this is a huge market for us, and we think I think that we are doing very well on that, and this is something that is very important also in order to have a more reactivity, in order to really know where your items are in the shops.
Yeah. Yeah, fully agree. It's also the aspect of having like a more of a humanoid form factor for a world we live in that is made by humans for humans is very significant, right? And so you gotta adapt it. But if a free armed robot, that's kind of special. Instead of a head, you have an arm. Maybe we get like full armed robots that have another pair of arms, like from the
Why not?
certain
Yeah,
ancient kind of mythology or superheroes like I remember like there was an episode with a superhero, like the bad guy, he had like octopus arms or something like this. So
yeah.
we're getting there, but for the good usage. And I'm glad to hear also about these big deployments you have out there. That's really impressive, in fact. uh, with your recent work, where you also have these social and mobile manipulations, like you said, what challenges do you actually face in adapting these robots to environments such as, also if we think about hospitals, right? It is interesting. But you also mentioned retail space, although use case you mentioned is more in the warehouse, from what I'm understanding. But also you want to have them in the retail environment, engaging potentially with customers. So how can you? What are the challenges, and how can you ensure these robotic systems can collaborate effectively with people, with humans?
And this is something that is still working on. So not only for PAL Robotics, but I think all around the world. So the interaction, there are two kind of in literature. There's two kind of interaction. There's physical human-robot interaction and social human interaction. So we are working on both. So physically, one, the robot has to be able to work without damaging in any case humans. So this is the important things for for the um, for the physical human robot interaction. And
Hmm.
so, for example, in shops, what could be very nice to have is to have a robot that from like Stockbot that is doing the inventory, and from the
Hmm.
other side, even during the night, the robots can just put the things in order. So if we find that something is in the wrong place, it can just change the place. So imagine, for example, in a big shops, no, it's Decathlon, for example, no, you have some items that are not in the right place. The robot during the night is just making and refill the shelves in order to be ready for the morning in order to sell properly the things. So
Yeah.
this is one of the things that the robot could do. And then from social point of view is during the open hours, for example, in the retailer, the robot can also help clients in order to say to them where the things are, or make some demonstration, or even only make entertainment. But entertainment robots, we have plenty of example all around the world. And so I think that now we have to focus more on the interaction. And
Yeah.
social interaction is also important, but not only for entertainment, but also to really work on that. Changing the environment from manufacturing or retail to, for example, healthcare. Healthcare, for example, there's a huge, strong market, for example, for elderly care. So having a robot that can not only chit chat with the elderly, but also help in case of problem, or just making the alarm to someone is very important. We work in several projects on that, and is something that the technology already can provide this kind of solution. And so this is the things that, in my opinion, we will see in the closest future.
Yeah.
Okay, so in order to do this, what we did also with you with reply is pushing the competition stuff. So we are helping all the competition all around the world. For example, the RoboCup. I don't know if you know
Yes.
about this big competition worldwide. There are probably 5 years from now that the RoboCup Atomi was won by a TIAGo. But we are not programming the robots. It's our partner or client or supporter, or sometimes we also rent the robot. They're using it in order to make the competition, and this is quite good things in order to push in the limits, because all the time we are learning something new when we put the robot in different environment, and some clever scientists could have a very clever intuition, or changing the robots, also hacking the robots in
Yeah.
order to make better things. And in my opinion, it's something that we have to take profit in order to collaborate better, in order to have a better solution.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, fully agreed. And also, what you said, like the elderly care aspect, is often seen a little bit like when you talk with folks that are not like us in the field. People are always a little bit scared, and they say like, "Oh, I don't want to be, I don't want to be cared by a robot." And that's not going to work. But if you ask me, I would prefer to actually have a car robot and not have all the issues that human have. So that would be a good
Uh,
one. And I think it's really impressive also what we see with interaction focused robots and social robotics. By the way, for our audience here, if you have not listened to our previous episode, we also had some previous episodes where we discussed social robotics and also the aspect how you can use them in healthcare with our friends from the University of Genova, so with Lucrezia Grassi and also with Professor Antonio Scorbisa. So we had them in previous episodes where we talked more in depth about the social robotics aspect. But yeah, I think that's very important. And the human skills shortage is a real thing, and so it's not about replacing humans; it's rather about keeping the thing going, and that's only the only way to scale. I'm very confident to say that is with robotics. Like that's the only way we can sustain the future.
Absolutely. It's nice that you mentioned also Antonio and Lucrecia because we are also working with them. So we don't see them only in conferences because we have a lot of scientists in the company that are going a lot of time to all the conferences, but also they are using some of our solutions. For example, Antonio, now we will have Ari robot that is a social robot that we have a part of TIAGo that is inside our business unit of mobile interaction. But Ari robot is also another example of robots that could provide services and they could make the difference in the social robotics. So, and nowadays we also did a special product that is just the head of the robots. That is exactly the head of the TIAGo Pro that could be used on the on your table in order to implement all the AI, generative AI,
Wow.
fundamental AI, in order to make these kind of things rolling with also minimum viable robot, let me say in this way, that could be used on your
MVR.
desk, in your desk easily and implementing in the robots all these kind of things. So these are things that, in my opinion, could help a lot in order to go faster in the development.
Yes, yes. We already touched upon this quite a bit, like how you can, make these robotic systems more accessible for the broader audience. But maybe you can further elaborate a little bit on the future side of things. So, what role do you envision humanoid and mobile robots are going to play in our daily life, and how would you see PAL Robotics working on making this happen, basically? So, what's
Oh,
coming? What's
these are
coming?
two big questions. I'm not a magician, so I can try to say my opinion, but yeah,
Use
the
your crystal
idea,
ball a little bit. Your crystal ball.
yeah,
You can use
yeah,
mine. We're fine.
Crystal. Yes, I have a good stuff with yes with
Ah,
robots and whatever, but yeah,
nice bottle
uh,
there.
but in my opinion, this kind of robots could be useful. Absolutely, the first things that could be used is around manufacturing.
Hmm.
So we are already working on a lot of different pilots and project in private project in manufacturing in order to make this kind of automatization easily. So nowadays, my point of view is that there are a lot of humans that are still works to the robots because there are a lot of jobs that are doing repetitive tasks that could be automatized. So automation is not only a kind of robots or humanoid robots or mobile robots that could be these kind of things, but using this solution like mobile robots or humanoid robots could make the flexibility in order to change the production line easily. Because if you mount all the all the flow in order to mount something, and then for whatever reason you have to change something, is very slow when you have a fixed robots. Having flexible and more able robots with 2, 3, 4, 8 arms, for example, that could do the jobs.
Yeah,
Imagine even in agriculture, for example, having different arms that could keep picking fruits or whatever is very important in order to do the things faster. Okay, so this is the point of view to make these kind of things in a different way from now. So the idea of this kind of changing that flexibility that we could have in this solution is very important. And absolutely, Parabotics, I hope that will be there on the edge in order to still investigating the research on this kind of new solution that could really make the difference in the different environments. So we are working, like I said, in manufacturing, healthcare, and also in agriculture in order to do this kind of things. And even from mechanism point of view, we are always trying to make the difference in order to change and test new solution in order to make better our use cases.
yeah, that sounds fantastic, and you already have good testimonials, like you mentioned, and like you said, also, I really appreciate that you help all these competitions, these robotics competitions, to also, in the end, empower the next generation of robotics engineers, and so that's also awesome, right? The strong academic connection you have there, love it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
Francesco,
yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead.
The last things that I didn't mention, but there's another big
Mhm.
hype that we are seeing nowadays, that is AI. I don't know if you are aware, but in Europe, AI is just the three different big pillars. So from one side, the artificial intelligence like this, so from software point of view, then big data, because artificial intelligence needs data. But
Sure.
then the biggest third pillar is robotics.
Yeah.
So robotics now is inside the AI, but is probably the only one that have a real embodiment that
Yes.
could really make changes in the real world. So having robots that would be empowered by AI is something that it will happen and will make this kind of machine more intelligent and probably more useful for us. And so having always in mind that has to be human centric. So this kind of machine has to solve and help us and make our life better.
Yes.
So this
Yes.
is my point of view that is very important to transmit, because I know that some people are scared also about this, but all our effort are always in order to make our life better, improve the quality of life.
That's fantastic final words here. I love it. I could only underline and sign this. Perfect. And also fully agreed what you said on the embodiment of AI, and that's really the next frontier where we're going to see this happen with real world models that are available in AI models, right? Like with language models, we're probably not going to solve it finally, but we see emerging stuff with world models coming out. And so, yeah, I fully agree. Unfortunately, we're already at the end of the show. We could talk for much, much longer, and I really appreciated that you shared all these insights and fantastic conversation, Francesco. So thanks a lot for your time today.
Thanks a lot, Rene. Thanks a lot to Reply, and thanks a lot for PAL Robotics. Bye bye.
Yeah, thank you, thank you, and thanks everyone for joining us for Digital Dialogues, your compact conversations on the future of tech. As usual, you can always find the previous episodes on reply.com, but also on all your favorite podcasting platforms. You name it: Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, all these podcast platforms. Just search for Digital Dialogues and you can find us there. So make sure to subscribe. And like I said, you can also listen to our sister and brother podcast on reply.com. And until then, thanks so much, folks, and take care and see you soon. Bye bye.